Hey Nate, I tried the treatment and it's just not working. I don't know how many times I've heard this throughout my career. I did the exposures, I used the mindset you gave me, and it just did not work. But when I dive deeper into what this actually means, I find that the person's definition of recovery is much different than mine. We are so used to doing a behavior and then getting an immediate result. So if I had an intrusive thought, a thought that I don't really want but it keeps coming back anyway, my first initial reaction might be to push these thoughts away. In some cases, pushing this thought actually works, but it's temporary because I bet you that thought is on its way back and maybe even stronger. If we compare this to having a headache, we usually can take some type of medication and then the headache goes away. Like, it works. You know it worked. This tends to be our definition for most things. But when it comes to treatment, this definition simply does not work. It's like me saying, hey, today I went to the gym and I lifted weights for an hour. I ran on that treadmill. What the heck, man? I don't look any different. It didn't work. Not only that, but now my legs are sore and my arms are sore and I'm tired and why did I even go in the first place? It didn't work. Instead, it actually made things feel worse. That's the important part. Whether you have OCD, anxiety, depression, some other mental illness, treatment will often look like this. You will be practicing some things, it will feel super uncomfortable. They're going to be out of your normal routine, and you will likely feel worse before you feel better. But why is that? Because you're probably facing something you haven't faced in a really long time. The hundreds of times you've avoided something and now you're facing it head on. Of course it's going to feel uncomfortable. And when you're done, the anxiety could actually still be there. The distress doesn't always go away. We've got to change their definition of work. So when somebody tells me that they tried the treatment and it just did not work, it usually means their definition was, my anxiety is still there. I'm still feeling depressed. I'm still unmotivated. I'm still scared of this thing. And yes, it's okay to continue feeling that way because it's just like you going to the gym and having to exercise every day. You're gonna get sore. You're going to feel more uncomfortable, but the results come later. That's the important part. They often come without you even knowing they came. I often hear individuals say, I didn't even realize I'm not scared of that thing anymore. Oh, I haven't even had that thought in a while because it's not even on their radar. But that happens through practice. When we are looking for that quick fix, we often are going to see disappointment. It is a long-term strategy. That's the way you got to think about it. I'm not looking for those quick fixes. My 7-year-old daughter the other night was telling me how she was scared of the story that she heard. I gave her the advice to allow the story to keep coming back to her mind. But instead, we are going to do something different about it. The only control we have is how we're going to respond to it. So every time a trigger word comes in your mind, we're going to celebrate it. We literally sat there, a word came in and we said, yay, I'm so excited. Yes, it came back. I sure hope it stays. That would be great. I love this. We celebrated it. We didn't push it. She said, I'm gonna have a nightmare. Guess what I told her? Maybe, maybe not. We don't know. We're not gonna put all our eggs in one basket. We'll see in the morning. But after practicing this for a few minutes, she looked at me and said, but I'm still so scared. I don't think it's working. And what I told her is that it is okay to be scared. Allow yourself to be scared. We grow when we do things scared. We do not progress if we're choosing to hold back. We often take any threat that comes to our mind and we pretty much act like we don't care unless we see immediate danger. I can have a thought, but why is nothing happening? Cool, man. Whatever treatment strategies you are using, keep this in mind. Individuals often need to create a realistic goal of what recovery actually means for them. I often have people create goals based off of how many times they can try the treatment, not how many times their anxiety went down. So here is a realistic mindset for recovery. Someone might say, okay, I'm gonna face this fear. I'm gonna correct my thinking by using exposure and response prevention. I'm gonna pay attention to where my anxiety's at, so maybe 0 to 10, where's this at? I'm gonna continue facing this fear for 20 minutes. Whatever happens at the end of this 20 minutes is what happens. My anxiety could go down, It could go up, it could stay the same, but either way, my brain is learning something new. That's the most important part. And I am gonna repeat this in a few hours. I can check my anxiety levels, but this is not my measure of success. Because what happens is that 8 out of 10 anxiety turns into a 7, then a 6, then a 5, then a 4, then a 3, then a 2, then a 1. But it doesn't happen overnight. Just like working out at the gym, it takes time. We focus more on the time spent than how it's making you feel at the end of it all. So if you were using exposure and response prevention, where you're choosing to face your fears, at the end of all this, you might celebrate if you're still feeling anxious. Yes, I'm so glad I'm feeling anxious right now. This is so great. Oh yeah. And I am boasting about how I faced my fear today. If you are using behavioral activation for depression, which means we often do something out of our routine every single day, you are not continually checking to see if you're happier. Okay, I went to the soup kitchen and I helped serve somebody, but I'm still depressed. Didn't work. That's not how it works. Consistency, consistency, consistency. We do it over and over and over. Ultimately, our job is to continue moving forward no matter what. The things that get in our way are the things we can always work on. So then how do you know when something is actually working? Well, you are trying it often. You're doing it the correct way. You're trying as hard as you can, and you still are noticing that it is a difficult task for you. Maybe you've taken some steps and even gotten lower on the anxiety scale, but you're still finding it difficult. Your brain is telling you that there is no way you're ever going to face this fear. There could be a lot of negative, unhelpful thoughts as well. But the part that I look at the very most is consistency. It is okay for people to fail. It is okay for compulsions to come in every once in a while. I sometimes see a point where someone has tried and tried and tried, and they've given their best effort, and they're still not functioning. This to me is when something isn't working. And this is when I see medicine come into play. It can often help somebody with their treatment process when they're struggling. So to break it down, the definition of treatment success can be different for each person. Expect to continue feeling anxiety for a while, depression for a while, uncomfortable for a while. Don't let that derail your treatment. This is not an all or nothing approach. We are often controlled by the way that we are feeling. When we feel anxiety, we feel anger. When we feel depressed, we feel like nobody likes us. Feelings, feelings, feelings. Did you know that your mood affects your mental health? Go watch my video on mood swings to help you understand yourself a little bit better and how you're feeling. And let me know in the comments what your recovery goals are going to look like. Hey Nate, so I tried the, why am I, the first line, man, I'm messing that up. She said, I'm gonna have a nightmare. Guess what my answer was? Oops, pointed the wrong way.